This is epic. Like, that's it. That's the review. So, please, enjoy some footage of Gandalf casting the suggestion spell.
Your staff. Oh. You would not part an old man from his walking stick.
Hi there fellow roleplayers and game masters, my name is Mr. Tarask and today I want to talk about Raiders of the Serpent Sea. Now, I wanted to do a full review video of this campaign setting that is also an entire world, that is also an entire story from levels 1 all the way up to level 16, that is also filled to the brim with content within its 500 pages, but there is just too much to talk about. So I kind of want to split this up into 2 videos, maybe even 3 videos, where the first one, this one that you're watching right now, is more of a broad video kind of talking about what you can get or what you should get when it comes to Raiders of the Serpent Sea, and just kind of talk about in a broad sense again what it actually is. Raiders of the Serpent Sea is kinda a spiritual successor to Odyssey of the Dragon Lords, a book that I've reviewed on my channel. I will link the video somewhere here. It's an old video, and it's also a 500 pages thick, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, almost 500 pages thick campaign setting with classes and races and places to go and all of that stuff. And the same creators have just created another one, which doesn't have anything to do with the first one. The first one, as you remember, is all based around like Greek mythology and that kind of stuff. It is this island that you wash up on, and there's this Greek mythology going on. Entire thing. I can keep talking about this for ages, but what they did here is they kind of created a Viking setting. Now, if you know me, I've reviewed a few Viking settings or Norse mythology-based settings. One of my favorite being Svilland, which is one of my favorite Viking settings that is out there. Also, the Northlands in the Kobold Press's Midgard campaign setting is really cool. Also, combining Svilland with the Northlands is really cool and really awesome. So even if you are just playing a Viking campaign setting, right, and you are not necessarily buying this to run it like start to finish or anything like that, this is really well worth picking up for game masters who are into Norse mythology or want to run this cold and bitter and deadly and awesome, huge campaign setting that has everything you need built in. So what I want to do in this video is quickly show you what there is to get for Raiders of the Serpent Sea and what you need to start playing it and what it is all about and what you get for your money and like just some of the artwork that is inside and that kind of stuff. Because what I need to talk about from the get-go is in the first parts of the book, they say that in addition to the core rule books for 5th edition, you require at least 1 copy of the Serpent Sea Player's Guide. So there is a campaign setting guide, and if I'm not mistaken, this one had all of the player options inside, but this one doesn't have all of the player options and all of that kind of stuff inside. It's basically the campaign setting and a story all the way from levels 1 all the way up to level 16 or even beyond if your characters make certain choices and that kind of stuff. And it's an entire Viking campaign setting with a lot of like sandbox things going on for you to like mechanics for raiding and pillaging other ships and that kind of stuff. But if you want your players to actually play a character that fits into that world, you need a copy of Raiders of the Serpent Sea Player's Guide. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. You could perfectly well run this, to my opinion. I might be completely wrong and missing something. You could perfectly well run this without the Player's Guide. If your players just create characters that make sense for the setting, you are good to go. But also, at the same time, you as a game master will have a lot more work to do in order to explain the setting and its shenanigans to your players, because having a player's guide like this is the player's guide. You can also buy it in PDF, by the way, everything, which is about 80 pages. It doesn't only have the player options in it. Look at this. Just quickly take it quick. quick look at this kind of stuff. It doesn't only have the player options in it, it also has a lot of general information on the world, and like the map of the world is already there, like the Serpent Sea being right here, right? That kind of stuff, about races and places and that kind of, look at this cute artwork. Yeah, about the settlers, about the clans, like the factions of Grimnir. Grimnir is, by the way, the land that we're in right now. So it has a lot of that stuff going on. So if you are a game master who likes their players to be somewhat up to speed about the setting and that kind of stuff, make sure to also get the player's guide. Now, I know from experience that having a player's guide does not always mean that your players are going to read it. They might as well just skip to the character creation section and create a character and know jack shit about the setting. I did that with Tolis, and my party all created characters that were not from Tolis, which is an awesome campaign setting with awesome lore and awesome opportunities for you to create a character for set campaign setting. Players might pick this up and read it, but like my experience is, if you have 5 players at your table, like 1 player might like read most of this book, and all of the others will just like create characters last minute, like the night before or the morning before, and sit at your table and expect you to do all the work. That's just the reality of it. Now, that said, there is something really important about this book for characters who want to, like players who want to create characters that make actual sense in the world, and players who want like a background or whatever that kind of ties into the story that is taking place in this big 500 pages campaign setting and story book, right? Because there's something in here called epic backgrounds, and epic backgrounds are on page 26, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 26. So it's right about-ish here. Epic backgrounds basically replace the backgrounds that are in the 5th edition Player's Handbook or 2024 Player's Handbook or any other 5e-ish game you're playing, right? They kind of replace that. It's kind of the same thing, but it also comes, for example, if you are, let's say you have an epic background that's called the Cursed Raider. So you have your suggested characteristics, you have your features, your languages, all of that kind of stuff. But you also have a starting story connection, which a lot of backgrounds have, teamed. And then you have an epic goal. Every background comes with an epic goal. And if you make that goal, you get extra stuff as a character. Sometimes an extra power or an extra thingy that you can get as a character if you make that epic goal. And that epic goal is always like tied in to the main feeling, the main idea, or even like the overarching plot of the Raiders of the Serpent Sea, the campaign setting, the story itself. So having those epic backgrounds is just a small part of this book. Now, the races and the classes that are in here make tons and tons of sense for the world. Just to be clear really quickly, but you could create a 5th edition character and run in this world. You could create a Tales of the Valiant character and run in this world and run this setting and run this story. But like the epic backgrounds and some features, the classes and everything get just they add so much to the overall thing that is Raiders of the Serpent Sea. And that's something that really needs to be said about this. I really, really, really like campaign settings that have everything built into them. I love campaign settings. I love Midgard. I love Svilland. I love all of that stuff. Just a bunch of locations and places you can go with like ideas for adventure, for a game master to build their own campaign kind of in that world with some seeds and stuff, inspiration for the game master and all that stuff. But I'm really into this kind of stuff. I rarely get to like fully play it. I've played through a few as a player. I rarely get to fully run this kind of stuff, but I love flipping through it. Everything, and this is just something that the creators done really well. Everything just makes sense. All the races, all the classes, all of the content in here, in the player book, together with this big book, just make a ton of sense for the world that you're playing in and the feeling that they're trying to portray with Raiders of the Serpent Sea being a Norse mythology-inspired Viking-esque campaign setting. But wait! there is more. Something that was also sent to me by the creators is the Raiders of the Serpent Sea Game Master cards. Now there's more. There's more than this. There's more than this. There's these cards. They also sent me like the super high quality special collector's edition item thing, which is like, I don't know why they sent this to me. Probably to put on my shelf somewhere around here. It's absolutely, it's gorgeous. I don't know if you can see this on camera well enough. So this is an option to get if you're really out there to spend money. But this is also really cool, and every book comes with a link that you can click or type into whatever format you buy. You can go to that URL, and there are Game Master tools that you can get for free. You can just like download them, and these are all like quick reference things for the world. I will take a look at that in a bit, but first let's take a quick look at these cards, because this is a deck of cards. Well, I'm saying that this is a deck of cards, which it isn't. It's actually 3 decks of cards in one. It's a big ass deck of cards with, let me see, where do I start? It has, does it stop here? Yeah, probably it stops here. So, first thing that it has is NPCs. So, these are all NPCs, and like, these could be enemies, these could be allies, these could be monsters, that just like important characters that the players will or might encounter, which is the Great Serpent is even in here, like from the cover, which is the Great Serpent, which is this one. It's like a big ass Serpent Sea kind of thing. And so on the front, there's the NPC. Basically, right here, one-eyed person, this one, and on the back, of course, there is not only its stat block. Well, the stat block isn't always there. Let me see. Is it? Sometimes the stat block is here, like the base information is there, right? But it's not always there, because sometimes it's not necessarily, depending on the character and what place they have in the story, right? So this is Eldhin, which is a celestial neutral good, which is on page... Sorry, I dropped it. On page 376. Even the page number of the book is on the card, which helps a ton, right? And then it is, there's like an information about what they do, and every hero recovers 1 level of exhaustion. They also gain +1 to their armor class until the start of the next round, which is a heroic action. So she has a heroic action to make everybody recover 1 level of exhaustion, or +1 to their armor class at the start of the next round. So she has this heroic boon type of thing going on that she can give people, right? She has a bird. Is that a bird? What kind of bird is that? I don't know what kind of bird it is, but she has a bird, and she has 1 eye, and she has like really beautiful hair. So NPCs are on here. There's location cards, which is something that I really, really like. So a lot of like important locations. Really hard to show you this, but like a lot of important locations. Like, or encounters, maybe even more, because this is like a random giant encounter, an encounter with a hill giant. It's just like the basic information for the encounter with a hill giant. But there's also like, I don't know, let me just pick one here. So these are more like encounter cards than they are location cards. For example, this one is called Underworld Sea. So this is, this imposing island is a conical hill with a narrow gash leading into an oddly glowing interior. A wooden dock awaits, and there is an explorer-class longship docked already. So it's more like a location introductory card, which is really cool because you can show that artwork to your players. And your players... You're talking about this and you're describing it, but you can also like show it to them. Also, you can give it to them so they remember that they've been there, right? So, oh, we've already been there. Isn't that island, that weird island? Oh yeah, it was this island. Let's just read about that, because it could be, with a campaign like this, it could be like 6-7 years ago that we're all adults. We all don't get to play as much as we wanna, right? So, you know what I mean. And then, magic items. Magic item cards, you know what magic item cards are. For example, there's this, a Helm of Awe, a wondrous item, legendary, and then its stats and everything that you need to know about it are on here. So yeah, that's something you can get. I don't know if you can still get this, but I just wanted to show you this because it was part of the package that was sent to me by the creators of Raiders of the Serpent Sea. And then there is this, Raiders of the Serpent Sea GM reference booklet. Charts, tables, stories, and advice for running an epic campaign in the world of Grimnir. Grimnir, again, is the world of Raiders of the Serpent Sea. Now, this is completely for free to for you to download. Download the Raiders GM reference right here. Or you can look at it through this little app thingy that loads really, really slowly on my computer for some reason. So you can look at it that way and check it out. It's completely for free if you buy the book. So if you buy this book, the Raiders of the Serpent Sea book in any form, PDF, the normal version, or this big ass thick, heavy, I don't know what it is, the high quality book version of it, you can click a link in that, or you can type in that link if you have a physical edition and just check it out. I don't want to go too deep into this. It's just a thing that is there, 32 pages, where they go into like tables for you to like a drinking contest and all kinds of mechanics, random treasure table, useful magic item tables, secret myths that you want to read about, and it functions more as like a quick access thing. So again, this is a full, if you get into Raiders of the Serpent Sea, it is like a full quality of life thing that you are getting yourself into, raiding horde table, all that kind of stuff is in here. They immediately start off with like a content discussion. Can I zoom in? I can probably zoom in. Yeah, so death of animals, death of children, death from disease, self-injury, racism, slavery, and hopelessness. Sounds like a lot of fun. Over 16 minutes into the video, I still haven't scratched the surface about what Raiders of the Serpent Sea is, and I'm probably not gonna even scratch a lot more of the surface about Raiders of the Serpent Sea, because it is huge. This is the campaign setting book, and this is the player's guide. Now, I advise you that if you get into this, you should get both. Like, I don't think the player's guide is essential, but that's what they're saying right here, that you should get a player's guide, but it isn't as essential as I think they say it is, but I could be completely wrong. But then again, it's full of interesting stuff. If you're investing in Raiders of the Serpent Sea, please just also invest in at least the PDF copy to share with your players of the player's guide. Now, that said, Raiders of the Serpent Sea is, and I'm going to go into this campaign setting a little bit more in a future video if you're interested in that. Make sure that if you're interested in that, hit the thumbs up under this video, put that in the comments, and subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed yet, but do it under this video, because that tells the algorithm and that tells my analytics that you like content about Raiders of the Serpent Sea. And if you tell me that you like content of Raiders of the Serpent Sea, it would be my absolute pleasure to go deeper into this campaign setting and talk about, like, this is the world, by the way. This is Grimnir. The Serpent Sea is all the way down here. And, yeah, I don't even know where to start in, like, this video. All I want to say is, like, some general stuff. They go into like the world, how it came to be, and all of that stuff. And the players are basically a group of raiders, and what they're trying to do, at least that's what they think they're trying to do, is they're going to try to stop Ragnarok. So there is this entire thing of Ragnarok is around the corner, right? If you don't know what Ragnarok is, basically it's a Viking word for shit is about to hit the fan. It's the end of the world. Everybody's gonna die, basically. End of the world, and like the survivors need to start a new world. That's basically Ragnarok, right? But now the player characters will think they need to stop Ragnarok, but in reality, Ragnarok is gonna happen anyway. And the end of the campaign kinda is, at least that's where it steers to, is that they are going to fight during Ragnarok and try to help and save as many people as they can, that kind of stuff, right? There's all of these, so this is a Viking setting, and Vikings, as we might know, they fought a lot with other groups of people around the world, but they also fought a lot within themselves. So there's all of these clans across this entire land, and the game starts with the players doing kind of an escort quest, but they get ambushed on an island and they lose their ship. They start with a longship. Well, the longship belongs to the person they're trying to help out. They get betrayed, their longship gets destroyed, and they need a new longship, so they go all the way up to Nowhere, which is this right here. There's an area called Nowhere, to find themselves a new longship, in order to actually decently start the game, because for me, to my opinion, that's where it actually starts. So you have the start, which is more of like a is it called a prologue, a prequel, whatever. It's kind of like the first part is like they lose their longship and they need to find a new longship. As soon as they find a new longship, they buy it or they find it or they get it, depending on their decisions. It's a 500 pages thick book. So yes, there's going to be all kinds of different decisions the players can make in order to get the thing they need to get, but in another way. They might buy a longship, they might get a longship, they might steal a longship, whatever the players decide to do, right? As soon as they got that, their mission becomes they want to take revenge on the clan that attacked them. So they want to go pillage that clan. But also, at the same time, they have a freaking longship. And as you can see, there's this map with a lot of water and a lot of little islands and a lot of big-ass islands and a lot of, like, channels going in here and canals going in here and all that kind of stuff. Meaning that it becomes this semi-open world thing, and I compare it to, I immediately got what's that, Assassin's Creed Black Flag vibes, where you have like your main quest where you need to go with your ship, but you can also go pillage there, and you can also steal there or rob a ship there and do that kind of stuff. So depending on what the players do, they might say like, yeah, we're going to that clan, but on our way we want to, whoever we meet or run into, we're gonna try to steal from them. Or they might actively go look for like richer parts of the world in order to like kill those people and get their riches and all that kind of stuff. So that's where the game actually starts. As you can see, there's all this information about different clans who are like constantly pillaging each other and then making allies with each other and then fighting each other again, like we know Vikings did. They were always like fighting and dying in combat, because dying in combat was actually a good thing. So yeah, that is basically like the first little bit of it, and it goes super deep into the gods, into the world building. It has all kinds of maps for locations. Like there's villages that have maps. Like parts of this book are full-fledged adventure booklets. Like I write my own adventure modules. I don't have one right here, but I write my own adventure modules that you can buy. Isle of the Dreaded Accursed, for example, is an adventure module set in Mountainfoot Village, and you need to go do things, right? That entire adventure module would just be a small part within a book like this, which is insane. Like there's even maps of Eye of the Storm Feasting Hall. There's this entire map with like other buildings and stuff that they're pile up here, and it's like it's a feasting hall. So it's basically like where they feast, where Vikings feast, all that. Eye of the Storm Feasting Hall, which is the second thing here. There's batting, where you can go do all kinds of crazy stuff in and around your bed, if you know what I mean. Because it is, and this should be stated. Oh, by the way, there's like rules for pillaging. There's rules for naval combat. There's rules for building your own ship. There's sub rules for so many things in here. It's absolutely crazy. Now, keep in mind that it is a adult campaign setting. Like they say right here, do not play this with a bunch of younglings, because, well, they might even, well, I don't know, children might even know better how to handle that kind of stuff, because, but yeah, there's a lot of going on here, adult themes going on here, so there's a lot of like, I don't know, yeah, hatred towards each other. There is racism, for example. There's there's a few races that are just not allowed in certain parts of the world. Like, not even allowed. They're not even like frowned upon. They're not allowed. Like that kind of racism. There is sexism. There's all that kind of stuff in here, which is just makes sense for a setting like this, and also makes for, to my opinion, proper villains. If you have proper stuff that is really bad and really wrong, you have proper villains. If you have like this, I don't know, overly racist, overly racist mayor, for example, you want to punches that dude in the face, right? That's just how it is. That makes a good villain. Somebody who is like overly racist is a good villain because you want to punch him in the face, right? You want to kill him. You want to smack his fucking head off with a broadaxe. Which works because it's a vacant campaign setting and almost everybody has an axe. So yeah, the player's handbook, I'm just rambling about this. The player's handbook talks about like, the player's handbook, yeah, player's handbook, player's guide. Like also myths and laws and factions, the weapons you can use. Like for example, they have like axes and that kind of stuff, and they have like different stuff going on to their weapons, just some different stuff that you can do. Yeah, about runes, because a lot of people when they reach adulthood in this campaign setting, they put runes on their head to show that they've reached adulthood. Rules for raiding, rules for pillaging. It doesn't stop. There's playable races in here. For example, this cutie, which is really cool. Well, really cool artwork for Beastborn. There's Stallfolk, which are basically like semi-giants. There are Wickers, which are these weirdos. And there's classes, like for example the Bard, which is like an entire thing. The Ancient Order of Seers. So there's the Bard, and it just replaces stuff you get from, if you select the Bard from 5th edition, right? This replaces stuff from that. Cleric, which is the Discovery domain. Yeah, I want to go deeper into this kind of stuff in a separate video, because we're already like running a very long video. But look at this druid having like it's just a humanoid druid, but then if you look closely, you see this this eagle. I think it's an eagle sitting here, but this guy also has like eagle-like claws for a hand, which is really cool for a druid. Yeah, so it all makes sense, but the most important part is what I already talked about, is actually the backgrounds. Basically, there are the epic backgrounds. Is that what they call it? Oh, ships at sea. There's like stat blocks for ships, and there's different kinds of ships that the players can buy, steal, or acquire in other different ways. There's like this house that sits on 2 big ships, which is like the motherships of a fleet. And there is a section, I might skip it, but there's a section about these epic backgrounds that are backgrounds that tie into the overarching story of the book itself, Raiders of the Serpent Sea. These backgrounds all have an epic thing they need to do in order to get a certain new ability or something like that, if they complete their backgrounds quests almost. I hope you're now somewhat informed about what Raiders of the Serpent Sea is, what you can get for it. Oh, by the way, there's also short adventures you can get on DriveThruRPG that are set in the world, that function as side adventures or whatever you want to do with them. There's even more to cover, and there's so much to go into when it comes to this campaign setting, that if you're interested in that, hit the thumbs up under this video. Really important. If you want to see me talk about this more, hit the thumbs up under this video, because that tells my analytics that you want to see more. Also, if you're not subscribed, subscribe under this video if you want to see more of Raiders of the Serpent Sea. Now, this is getting way too heavy, so what I'm going to say is, until next video, bye-bye.